is your buddy. Peace and harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful empowered harmonizers. And we're zooming in and focusing in on a very important distinction. I feel that comes when you are trying to move through, understand, get grips on, and heal and come out on the other side after you've been abused, manipulated, betrayed by a toxic individual, someone who is malignant, narcissistic, psychopathic, someone who has done you wrong, done you dirty, been a pathological liar to you, done things to cheat behind your back, or who is, has a pathological sense of self-importance, and you didn't know better, so you just became narcissistic, supply to this individual, or codependent. In other words, you just constantly allocated yourself to the back seat emotionally. You became a support person, a rah-rah person for their roles, or, kept silent when you were being criticized, judged, told, that you were garbage, or told harsh comments that made you feel that you had to put up and shut up. And, because you then, were led to believe that this person was more important than you, better than you. They were the right one. You bought into the crazy making. You bought into the brainwashing, the gaslighting. You were bullied down. You were shut down. You had learned that you were less than, less powerful than. You couldn't really sort of deal with, and you didn't feel equivalent to the task. So you perhaps put up with this, person for too long. And so it's important to understand that those individuals who are, chronic manipulators, in other words, they will lead you to believe that you are less than, that you don't have what it takes, that they're just going to lie through their teeth at you day in and day out to get you to, have the wool pulled over your eyes, and that, you become more and more obtuse or unknowing, or, there's a wall or barricade that eventually seeps into the relationship until you can't stand it anymore, and you want to basically create an emotional riot and get to the bottom of this because something is not right. And then you follow up on your sneaky feeling, and then you get a breakthrough. You expose this person, you expose the manipulation, you expose the lies, you expose their double and triple lives, whatever it is that has then got you to the point where you want to break free. It's very important when you're being liberated and you're kind of emerging through this. It's very important that you understand the motivation and the cause that's created this effect or this relationship in your life. Your life is mirrored by your beliefs. So your beliefs about yourself deep within, embedded in your subconscious, had allowed this relationship to perpetuate and continue. But peace and harmony, I fell in love with this person when I was a teenager. This was my parent, this was my sibling, this was happening, I've been around this all my life. I didn't know better. That could very well be true. However, what's important for you now to break free and to really heal is to say, now I know better. Now it's time for me to take responsibility and accountability and stop using this relationship perhaps as a crutch to keep me in the victim mode and feeling overly passive, helpless, unempowered because of the situation. Oftentimes, what people don't realize is that this relationship, if you allow it to fester, ruminate, you're constantly feeling trauma bonded to this relationship like a ball and chain, like an hook, line, and sinker, like an anchor that won't let you sail, free in your life. Like it's constantly cropping up. The feelings of being victimized, the feelings of being weak, unempowered, they're causing you to feel anxiety. They're causing you to break down and cry at the worst times. You're at work, you start crying. You're up for review, you start crying. You have to see the manager. You feel timid and afraid. You're afraid to confront people. These are all symptoms. These are all sort of effects, if you will. So it's not the crying that is the problem. There's a cause underneath where you really need to work through. And so this is very deep, and it takes a while to get this. So if you don't get this right away, if this isn't hitting home right away, let this soak in and allow this to be a potential option to being a barrier in your healing, or where you're kind of staying in that I'm a victim mode, I'm passive mode, I'm isolated, I don't trust the world mode. And that is to understand that this relationship, if it was allowed to fester, if it was allowed to stick around, if it was allowed to really harm you and be overly destructive for years and decades, and it's claimed your identity, is to understand deep inside, part of this is fueled by a negative self-belief as well as a potential crutch. Yes, it is important for you to understand in your healing journey, if you're really kind of plateauing, or you're sort of isolated, or you're staying in the valley, you're not really able to kind of get some momentum and really sort of get excited about breaking free, or you're not really feeling the results yet of being healed, whole, good enough, secure, safe, understand and enforce your boundaries and standards, and really sort of activate what we call your pod thinking, your positive orderly direction thinking. If you're not able to ever, kind of do your recovery dates or keep your astramations going, if you're not able to journal, if you're not able to take stock of your lessons learned, if you're not able to kind of begin to understand your strengths, your interests and your wants and desires, and start booking these and get these moving forward, then it's important to understand that the hurts that have been inflicted upon you, this relationship, this codependent identity, this enabling identity, this I'm not good enough identity, can in fact be a crutch for you. So just like alcohol is a crutch, just like smoking or overeating or over gambling, etc., can be a crutch. In other words, it's something that you lean on so that you don't have to just take responsibility and accountability and sort of face certain things and confront. It keeps you numbed out. It keeps you oblivious. It keeps you passive. It keeps you wondering why. The same way I feel that when it's allowed to fester, if you're not moving on, it's important for you to investigate and look within and ask yourself, to what degree has this relationship served as a crutch in my life? To what degree has this relationship really kind of been like a buffer or a barrier to me living in my strength, to me living in my own responsibility and accountability and my own independence and autonomy? Yes, this relationship could have led to a divorce. It could have led to bankruptcy. It could have led to you having a separation, or, not being able to be gainfully employed or happy, or, living, the life of your dreams. It's not coherent. There's a disconnect. You might have really, really terrible social anxiety or crippling depression. So these are all effects. So these are not the causes. These are then effects. And it's to understand and really get in there and to ask, to what degree have I allowed this to be a crutch and to keep me unaccountable and irresponsible for my feelings, my actions, my choices, my growth, and then ultimately my happiness, my peace of mind, which is really the greatest wealth, is to have peace of mind and to have coherency and congruence with your true best potential, your true best interest, sort of what makes you you, to live an authentic life, to say, amen, I am allowed to be myself. I don't have to put on a charade, do things that are contradictory to my truth. In other words, is it okay for me to say no? Is it okay for me to say yes? Is it okay for me to say stop? Is it okay for me to say go? And to what degree can I raise my awareness so that I am living on this awareness? In other words, is to say I'm more aware, more conscious of my own motivations and the role that this has played in my life, and to what degree have I been inhibited, held back, hindered, or felt ineffective because of this? And to what degree can I shed that now? Can I shed that crutch? In other words, can I throw away that crutch, and can I walk forward in grace and self-esteem and confidence and competence and know that I'm equal to the task? To what degree am I equal to the task that I know that I deserve better, and I'm going to demand better? I'm going to raise my standards. I'm going to enforce my boundaries. To what degree can I admit that and then hold my head up high, not, arrogant, but with self-respect for who I am right now, with all my needs, with all my desires, with all my humanness and all my authenticity and all my emotions? Can I break free out of this, captured victim, sort of duplicity, self-assessment? And to what degree then can I emerge from this thumbs up, thumbs down, sort of binaural, binary evaluation of self? Either I'm all this or all that. To what degree can I allow myself to be in the process so I can move through and get more coherent and more congruent and more aware of the motivations or the limiting self-beliefs, self-limiting beliefs did I have, and did I feed, and did I fume, that allowed me to stay in these negative relationships, these abusive relationships, to take the manipulation, to live in denial, to, that allowed this to fester and perpetuate. It's very important that you then, allow yourself to move in the direction of your intuition, your higher self, which is built up through your higher awareness. It's very important to be able to do that. And to know better and give yourself better. It's to say no to the negative, to say no to, the lower standards. I don't want to find myself in this emotional junk, behavior. I don't want to be an emotional junkie where I'm like kind of addicted to a crutch of trying to live in the shadow of somebody else, or a narcissistic wound. In other words, being a supply source. It's okay to let go of that identity. Do you see how the identity itself can then be like a crutch? To what degree can you be dependent on this person, and then the flaws that you feel were flung upon you, that were given to you, the wounds, and to allow yourself to use this as a scapegoat within yourself? In other words, to what degree have you now taken that out, and that you're treating yourself the way the narcissist or the psychopath treated you? Are you scapegoating yourself? Are you devaluing and discarding yourself? Are you lying to yourself? Are you being superficial with yourself? Are you not embracing your truth, your magnificence, all that you are? To what degree are you not listening to yourself? Just like the narcissist didn't listen to you. Just like the psychopath, led you way astray, and you fell for some false mask without a conscience and immorality, and you gave into their hyper arousal, their need for constant stimulation. To what degree are you perpetuating, agitating yourself, or to what degree are you staying down in the gutter emotionally because of the devalue and the discard? If you are, then you're buying, the narcissist or the psychopath will have a perpetual grip on you throughout your entire life, and you will never, ever own your independence. You will never live your life freely. You will never take life carpe diem and live it, day by day, and really maximize all that you can in this life. You will never move. You will never travel. You will never have relationships. You won't smile. You won't allow yourself to feel that liberation when you really like scream out, I am. I am free. I am independent. I am loved. And I am love. And can you cry the tear, the tears of joy from shedding this and saying, can I really be liberated and independent enough where I can shake free from the shackles, the imprint, almost like the branding, the identity, the role that this person had hung on me, scapegoat, not good enough, ugly. And to what degree have you bought into their lies, and are you still isolated? Are you still stuck? Are you still, backed up emotionally? Are you still sitting on the couch? Are you still painted in the corner? Are you not trusting the world? Are you looking negatively? If you're still in that, then the narcissist has still won, even though they're no longer in your life. The psychopath still is manipulating you from afar. I mean, you've given them carte blanche to have a negative effect on you. And to what degree can you say, stop? No more. I'm not allowing this to plague me. I no longer am the body-mind connection to that event or to that relationship. Physiologically, your cells turn over. You're not, cellular-wise, you're not the same body. Your cells, shed and are new. I mean, you are a new organic tissue, but to the degree that you are unaware, unconscious, and allowing yourself to still replay and ruminate, you're solidifying neurophysiologically in your entire subset of your body. You're reinforcing that negative assessment of you, that negative judgment, and you're conforming to that, and you're allowing them to manipulate you from afar. You're allowing them to perpetuate their negative influence. You're not putting up the stop. You're not putting on the brakes. You're not saying enough is enough. You're not owning the I am, who you are now. You're still connected to those events. You're still connected to those relationships. The lessons learned and the recovery dates and the affirmations and coming to the present, and then the allowing of yourself to let go of that is very crucial. Otherwise, the relationship is going to serve as a crutch. If you're still replaying that in your mind, it's because there's something that your body and your mind is trying to tell you. The body actually is driven towards pleasure. But once you're in these relationships, pain gets equated with pleasure. In other words, your survival gets equated with this pain. So you must always feel a tinge of pain in your life in order to feel you're living your life, when it does not have to be that way. The narcissist, the criticism, the judgment, and conforming to their negative assessment is you're allowing yourself to perpetually always conform to their standards, and you never are living on your own. So it's super, super important for you to ask yourself these questions. And to what degree can you trust yourself and love yourself enough unconditionally to let go of those ruminations, the visions, and then if to let go of the crutch, you have to say, to what degree has this allowed me to numb out and be irresponsible? You got to get, you have to look at the good, bad, and the ugly. You have to be rigorously honest. And these videos give you a moment to be rigorously honest with yourself, and you kind of have to have it get ugly before it can get beautiful. You have to go through this self-understanding before you can grow, before you can expand. You have to get out of that sort of fishbowl effect where, you're only growing as large as your self-beliefs. It's like remember the goldfish that would only grow as big as its tank, and then the bigger the tank, then the bigger the fish would grow. Are you keeping yourself in too small an environment, where you can only, you're so caged up, you're so self-limiting, you can barely move a muscle, you can barely take a stride, you can barely take a step, you're still living in that I am small mentality. I don't trust anybody mentality. I don't believe in this mentality. If so, then you're perpetuating the negative self-beliefs and you're keeping yourself in a, a denigrated, less than existence. You're not believing in yourself. You've basically extinguished it, and you're allowing the narcissist to have, or the psychopath, to still snuff out your inspiration and to snuff out the divine, the Christ, the Jesus, that divine intelligence within you. You're allowing it to be extinguished. Like, remember those, the candle snuffers. You're allowing yourself to be snuffed out by this individual. Like, that's the law of the lid. You will only, grow to the extent of this lid. So are you like smushed down, and so it's important that, you have realized, and then all the aspects and areas of your life where you've then become limited. Is it difficult to receive a compliment? Is it difficult to go grocery shopping? Is it difficult to make new friends? Is it difficult to be with yourself? Are you, when you're with yourself, do you abhor your own company? Are you like, I'm a miserable this? Is your self-talk reflecting the narc talk? Is your self-talk reflecting the psychopathic talk? Are you still, living and carrying the torch or the untorch that was given to you from this person? Are you still like walking around with a snuffed out emotional candle, where you're just not, you're not making the changes, you're not making the choices, you're not thinking in the positive early direction thinking? Do you still feel unworthy? Do you still feel ugly? Do you still feel unattractive? Do you still feel isolated? Do you still feel like a victim? Are you still not making decisions? Are you, buying the narcissist victim mode, and are you still passive, not taking responsibility? Are you not making decisions? Are you not taking a step? Are you not taking a lot of steps? It's like the emotional Fitbit, Are you just stuck? If you are, then it's time to, you have to admit and grow in your awareness. That's the only way that you grow. Am I stuck? Am I hindered? Am I making, and to what degree have I resigned? Have I quit? Then it's only you that's accountable to you. You hold the key to your expansion. You hold the degree to your happiness. You hold the key to your happiness. You hold the key to your health. You put in your mouth, you put in your heart, you put in your brain what it is that you want. You put in your bank account what you want. You put in your profession, your skills, your relationships. Those are choices. And to what degree you've defaulted is to the degree that you have defaulted. I'm saying I've given up. I'm passive. I'm not taking, responsibility and accountability. I'm using this relationship as a crutch. I'm putting them under my arm, and I'm still just leaning on their assessment of me. And to what degree then are you strong enough to throw the crutch out? To what degree are you able to say, I can stand on my own? I can flex on my own. I have emotional independence on my own, and this is okay. It doesn't mean that you have to go out and burn your bra, burn your jockstrap, be like a raging, whatever. But to what degree have you embraced this? I think these are very important questions for you to ask yourself, because if you don't, then you're going to stay in a place of inaction. You're going to stay in a place of pondering and brooding, inactivity, and victimhood. You're going to not live the richness of life that you deserve. And of course, what you have gone through, of course you can, people can expect that you'd be depressed, down, anxious, scarred. But to what degree can you enact the healing in yourself? Because the degree of healing is going to come from within. It is going to be a permission base. It's going to be a conscious raised awareness rate. It's going to be to the degree that you are then, your self-belief is then lit on fire. To what degree can you light that inner candle and say, I believe in myself, And it's not by like looking in the mirror. I mean, you can do that looking in the mirror, but it's your own internal mirror. I believe in myself. I am magnificent. I am worthy. I am capable. I'm embracing my strengths. I'm not buying into the load of crap that was, shoveled on me from this person, this family, this community, this workplace, this school. I'm not buying it. You can walk away. You can, throw the crutch away and say, I am walking. I am walking away. I am going no contact. It has done enough damage. To what degree do you want to repeat the damage? It's time to stop, this vandalism of your emotional landscape. It's time to stop. Because if you don't, you're going to stay powerless and eternally affected by this person. And you are, you're resisting your own healing. You're resisting your own wholeness. You're resisting your own capability. You're resisting your own competence. Because this person didn't see it, didn't validate it, and then ground you down to a pulp. That's what narcissists and psychopaths do. This is what they do. It's time to say there are different types of people in the world than just narcissists or psychopaths, and allow yourself to be one of them, and then attract really good people, really good relationships, really good jobs, really good choices, really good decisions into your life. It's very important. And to what degree can you say being a victim is no longer my identity? Being, stupid, being naive, living in denial is no longer my identity. And to what degree I'm not afraid to speak up. I'm not afraid to speak to people who will listen. To what degree, can I affirm I'm not afraid to love? I'm not afraid to make a step. I'm not afraid to raise my awareness. I'm not afraid to raise my consciousness. I'm letting go of this one day at a time. And every day, in every way, it gets better and better and better. It gets better and better, and I'm excited to see the results. And I'm excited to live the new me. I'm enthusiastic to live the new me because this means for me, and then fill in the blanks, more friends, more freedom, more health, more self-respect, more self-esteem, a richer life. I'm going places, I'm traveling, I am more comfortable. And to what degree, am I done with allowing this person to manipulate me from afar? I mean, and to what degree am I comfortable becoming aware of it enough that I can say, whoa, I really have been allowing this to hinder and limit my life. Shame on me. I'm picking myself up and I'm moving myself on now. So those are the sort of conversations, your internal dialogue will also reflect and be like a time date stamp on the past of these relationships. And to get in control and to make conscious and deliberate decisions and choices that are more aligned and attuned with what you want and how you want to feel and where you want to be, to what degree, and I was thinking and reflecting on this earlier, it's kind of like an emotional scale. It's kind of like we talk about obesity and how obesity is just running rampant in the United States. And it's just like, well, how many fast food places, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, carbs, fats, are responsible and accountable for this. Well, it's kind of like, if you're putting that in, you're going to gain weight. It's time, you know better by now. You know what plumps you up. You know what makes you feel sick. You know what makes you gain weight, and you know what's healthy. It's kind of like the same thing with like an emotional scale. If you get on the scale and, you're 6 foot and you're 300, chances are you're out of weight, and the scale can tell you. The same, and then you have to admit that you know better. You're not walking, you're not running, you don't have the Fitbit on, you're not doing your steps, you're not doing your weights. You're responsible for how you weigh and how you look. The same thing, I feel, equates to like the emotional scale. If you were to have an emotional scale and step on it every morning and go, holy guacamole, I have way too much emotional garbage. Like, I am freaking 300 and I'm 5'6". Like, I am way overweight. I mean, and you would be disgusted. You'd be like, I've got to get help. I've got to change here. This is absolute blasphemy. I've blown apart the holiest of holy, the temples, my body, which, you know, gets me through this existence. And I have like, you know, emotional dysmorphia, physical dysmorphia, where I can't see what I can't even, because I haven't reflected, like, I didn't even know it was getting this bad. Like, you always hear those stories about someone who finally saw the picture and they're like, man, I have put on weight. I've got to change. And then they change, or then they stop smoking, or then they stop drinking, or they stop swearing, or whatever it is. Do the same for yourself. Get on the emotional scale. See how you weigh in. Take responsibility and accountability. You know what to do. Do it. You got this. Your buddy, peace and harmony with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Peace out. Love you.